Hello my beautiful flowers! I have a very exciting announcement today about a new name for our system. When Miraj and I first created our system, we called it the 4 Essence, 4 Quadrant system. That name never really clicked for me, and I've actually kind of avoided referring to the system by any name, which I don't like. So I've been searching for a name that feels right. And after months of consideration, the new name and the new branding are ready, and I am really eager to share them with you. Before I say anything else, I just want to emphasize that I'm adding in a system name, I'm adding in a name for each quadrant. Nothing substantive about the way the system works is being changed or removed. So what's wrong with the 4 Essence name? Well, I don't like how it emphasizes the essence concept by centering it. First, I just found that the essence word is much more strongly than I understood 2 years ago associated with John Kitchener's work, also like Choose This Beauty and even Kibbe. I really like to do things my own way, so I want to push away from the overlap. I want to minimize confusion and the comparisons in this area, but more importantly, I found that the word essence places the wrong emphasis. Essence is that ineffable total experience of you as a person. It is a critical component of the system, but if it's centered in the name, then I feel like the system's focus sounds like it's very internal, about searching the depths of you to discover the most essential self. But even though the 4 quadrants are very helpful in seeing parts of yourself more clearly, they are never going to capture the totality of you. And if anything, we think that the focus on essence in the name could steer people away from the correct quadrant, because you might know some other people in that quadrant and feel like, oh, your personality isn't the same, or you might feel like there's some important part of your being that can't neatly be summarized by that one quadrant, the focus, and you might focus on that. So rather than centering the concept of essence, we realized the important thing to bring to the center in the system is the style logic. This is what builds that bridge between your essence and your aesthetic, right? That experience of who you are and what you look like. And that's really the important center part of the system. The specific questions you ask yourself, these concrete and very actionable tools that you use to take charge of your style. So I wanted a name that emphasized the solution-oriented approach, and I was inspired by so many of my clients talking about just feeling like blocked or stuck, or feeling like they're unable to move forward in their style journey, like despite all this effort and shopping and trying, just this lack of moving forward. And it made me imagine this kind of like big door, and you're just trying to push through it, and knock it down, and it just won't give. I really like the idea of giving you a tool to open that style door, so that's what we are naming the system. You can call it the style key. I also really like your style key. So now let's talk about the names for the quadrants. I've been calling the quadrants right up, left down, etc. based on their directional position. I wanted to give each quadrant an additional name related to their style key. First, just vanity perspective, I just don't like the mouthfeel, the sound of left down style key. So I wanted it to be like the left down quadrant uses the X style key. I think that sounds very cool. But more importantly, I just found that there was a need for a bigger name that wasn't like an archetype that would clash with the other archetypes, but that was just lightly evocative. In working with hundreds of people, I have seen the potential value of this name, because even though the directions are very important for understanding the system, right, like where you are, they can also be a little bit tricky. The most obvious example to me is that down dressing in colloquial speech obviously refers to wearing more simple clothes, and you can see in my videos, my learning materials, that that's not really what down essence is all about. If you have the down essence, you might be happier in more understated and more simple clothes. That's part of it. But more important is the self-oriented approach to styling. You might have a very expressive style, for example, with the Illuminatrix, the Wildflower, the Cool Girl. Anyway, but you just get there through a more personable or more intuitive approach. I don't want to go into all of the challenges of all the struggles, the quadrant names. I just want to say, by communicating the system over the past 2 years, I've learned super much, and I'm really confident that these additional quadrant names will really help people make the best of the system. So in naming the quadrants, we gave each quadrant a gemstone key. Honestly, I have always been obsessed with Tiffany keys, so I definitely was inspired by them. The gemstones feel really good to me also because, you know, each one is special and beautiful and sparkling, just like you all. I love it. So I'm going to introduce the gem quadrants to you and tell you why we chose them. This has been a very long process. I am a researcher to the max. I cannot tell you how many options and configurations we considered. I'm really grateful here for Nikki, the style teller, for her completely invaluable support, her feedback. I'm really pleased with where we landed. So the left down quadrant is going to use the ruby style key. I love ruby red. It's the longest color in the spectrum. It's associated with our root, which I love, and I find it to be a color that's both activating and really grounding. It's associated with so many feelings, right? Like love and passion and anger, courage, vitality, all of these different experiences in one association. I find it perfect for left down. So I just love rubies. I feel like they're very inviting and intriguing, and I love how they're celebrated in both their raw and their polished forms. Feels great for left down. Now the right up quadrant is going to use the sapphire style key. I love the sapphire blue. It's a color associated with depth, of course, but wisdom, intuition, inspiration. It's very intense, which I think is appropriate for right up. And it's also a color associated with trust and integrity in typical color schemes, right? And I find that beautiful given that right up has this focus on visual energetic leadership. And now I really like how the left down and the right up quadrants are represented by gems which are both primary colors but which are kind of oppositional to each other, and I feel like this really reflects the fact that the right up and the left down style logics are basically inverse from each other. Okay, so what do we get if we mix that fiery powerful red with the deep intense blue? The left up quadrant is going to use the amethyst style key. I love amethyst purple. I'm wearing purple all the time. I immediately thought for left up about those huge amethyst geodes where the raw rock provides this kind of scaffolding for hundreds of gleaming and polished facets where the shadows and the light play. You have to polish and work with the amethyst to bring its full beauty to light. And that's so left up to me, this contradiction of the beauty combining the elemental left energy with the glamour, the mystery, the drama of the upness. Now the right down quadrant is going to be using the moonstone style key. Moonstones are a mystical gem known for their opalescent shimmer, and I love them so much. What I love about moonstone is that it's visually so gentle and dreamy, so of course I love it, but I love that it contains so many colors, and as you twist and turn it, you can't quite pin it down. There's always more than meets the eye. You can't quite figure out exactly what it is depending on the angle, the light, the shape of the stone. I also find it visually really fitting in relation to the other quadrants because the moonstone can bring in reds, pinks, you know, blues, purples, but all of these colors are in the moonstone wrapped in this dreamy haze, and it becomes more than the sum of the parts. So I like that, and this really gentle, subtle, but very attractive quality feels so on point for the right down quadrant for me. So that's the new brand. The main consequence of this naming is the visual color change. I'm slowly making the new website, Your Style Key, with some learning resources and typing resources all in one place. Right now I have also the simple color coding right for each quadrant, so I'm going to slowly update my visual branding with the new style keys. So I'm going to update the foundations courses, the lookbooks, just a slight visual makeover. In the proximate future, on my main channel of communication right now, which is Instagram or my mailing list, I'm going to make sure to refer to both the quadrant designation, so left up quadrant, but also the style key they use, so like, oh, the amethyst style key. So there's plenty of time to get adjusted and get used to all the new names, and it's not something you need to study. My one concern is that of course people have some associations with gemstones, you know, we all things, but I feel like compared to all the other naming like options and ideas that we considered that we could also name the quadrants, the preferences for gemstones just are not that hot for people. I know personally, like, I own many moonstones and some amethyst. I don't own sapphire. I don't wear like dazzling sapphire blue. But for me, even though the gemstone names have a clear logic behind them, the names are not meant to feel as personal in the same way that the archetype names are. They're meant to just like, yeah, be this beautiful name for a tool that you can use, and it just helps you. So that's the new brand. I'm really, really proud of all the work I've done in almost 2 years developing the system. Really grateful to have you all here. And coming up next for me is an updated short and clear style logics video and written description, so you can use the system in the easiest possible way so you can get to know your style key. And if you watched this far, I want to tell you that I've also created a PDF overview of all the archetypes in my system. It is almost 40 pages. It's a beautiful guide. You can download it for free. You can use it to help yourself or just help other people around you. There's tons of info. You can get the guide by following the link in the description box below. So I'll see you next time for the Style Logics video, and take care. Bye!